So that's what we know about idols. Number two, real quick here, I want to finish up. How does the gospel confront our idols? Paul confronted the idols by preaching the gospel and had three main points. Number one, the true God gives life. He says God is not a God made with hands. He is the creator of everything. His love is more faithful than idols. His love is more fulfilling than idols. His promises are more secure than any idol you can have. His presence is more life-giving than the comforts that this world has to offer. His future is more fulfilling than any family or any affections or better than the praise of man that you can have. In Jeremiah 2:13, he says, "For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and have hewn out cisterns, broken cisterns that could hold no water." Cisterns were wells. So he goes, the first sin is against God. He goes, "I'm the fountain of living water." And they got rid of me to dig wells for themselves that had no water, when I was offering all the water to them freely. So the first sin, when we idol worship, is we forsake God. We forsake the God that created us to love Him. The second sin is we deprive ourselves of true joy. That's just, true joy is found in a relationship with me. When you forsake that to worship idols, yeah, you're forsaking me, but you're hurting yourself. You're ignoring, you're depriving yourself of true joy. The true God gives life. Second thing we know about idols, Paul talks about, is the true God doesn't need protection. Diana needed protection because she's just a false idol. Psalms 18 says, "I love you, Lord, my strength. The Lord is my pillar, my fortress, and my deliverer. My God, my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my high tower. I will call on the Lord who is worthy to be praised, and I will be saved from my enemies." David says, when I need protection and safety and security, God gives it to me. I don't have to protect Him. He protects me. Psalms 27:1, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom will I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom will I be afraid?" Look, I don't need to obsess about money, about love, about success, about what people think about me, because God has promised to take care of me. God has promised to provide for me. God tells me, doesn't matter what people think about me, my record's in heaven and my record's on high. So the whole world could think bad about me. Guess what? They thought bad about Jesus. God knows who I am. I don't got to obsess about it. I find all that I need in God. I can trust Him, I can rest in Him, and I find protection from the things that threaten me. He protects me. I don't got to protect Him. Third thing we notice, and final thing, is the true God offered Himself as a sacrifice for us. Idols, money, success. They say, if you don't do enough to obtain me, if you miss out in getting me and making me happy, then I'm going to make you miserable. Jesus says, you're going to fail me. You're going to mess up. You're going to fall short. But it doesn't matter. I still love you. I still died for you. I still rose again for you. And I still want to have a relationship with you. You failed me and I cursed myself for you. Other gods say, if you fail me, I'll destroy you. Jesus says, you did fail me and I loved you in spite of it. I loved you in your sin. Romans says, while we were yet sinners. It doesn't say, while we were sinners, but Jesus made us get real good and become great, holy, moral people. Then He died. No, it goes, no. While you were a failure, a sinner, a wretch against God, He loved you enough to die for you. He sacrificed Himself for you. I love the book of Hosea. If you've never read it, it's a wonderful, it's a confusing, but it's a wonderful book. But the book of Hosea, it shows Israel as an unfaithful wife who gave herself away to idols. God comes to Hosea and He gives Hosea a ministry. And Hosea's ministry was to marry a prostitute who was going to cheat on him over and over and over and over again and eventually leave him. That's his ministry. I'm glad God didn't give me that. That's not my ministry, thank God, thank the Lord. But okay, Hosea, you're going to marry this prostitute, and she's going to cheat on you, and cheat on you, and cheat on you, and cheat on you, and you're going to love her anyway. That was his ministry, and that's what happened. He marries her, she cheats on him again. And it's a picture of God loving Israel, but Israel continuing to cheat on him with adultery and idolatry and all this other stuff. And eventually, Hosea's wife, Gomer, again, not only marry a prostitute who's going to cheat on him, her name's Gomer. So Gomer gets taken into, she basically gets sold into sex slavery. You know what Hosea does? He goes, oh, well, tough luck. No. He tracks her down. He sells everything he has to buy her out of the slavery she got herself into. He sacrificed for her. And that's what God does for us. God says, you got yourself in this mess, but I'm going to give of myself to get you out. We don't sacrifice for God. God sacrifices for us. You know, idols are just as prevalent in our society and our lives today as they were in Ephesus when Paul was there. Now, they're harder to see because they're there. I read this book by Frank Perrietti, Piercing the Darkness. Have anybody ever read that one? It's a great book. Gave me a different idea about the spiritual battle. Because in this thing, and again, I can't tell you if it's true or not, but his whole thought was, it's a Christian fiction book, so it's really good. But basically, he gave this pastor eyes to see what people struggled with. So if someone if they struggled with lust, they had a little demon of lust on their shoulder. If they struggled with gossip, they had a little demon of gossip that was controlling them. Now, I'm not going to go to your house and go into your living room and see your idol of pornography on the counter, your little idol of self-image, your little idol of money that you bow. We're not going to see that. But we got them. They're harder to see because we don't have little statues, but they're there. And just like in Ephesus, they will destroy you. They will lie to you. But the gospel destroys the idols in your life because we realize that what we truly need, we find in Christ and God alone. The gospel, yes, it's for salvation, but it's also for our walk with God. God did for us what we couldn't do and we wouldn't do because He loves us, and He still does that. He still gives us what we can never get from anything else. So getting rid of idols is returning God to the place that He belongs in our life, returning God to His place as God.